The weapons that are being used now are different than the ones being used before. So, no, it's not that we've built immunity towards it and it's not that we're used to it. No, it's totally different. You asked if you can build resilience. You absolutely can, but you have to be intentional about it. You can't control the
Very
environment
different.
you live in. Okay, but you can do the things you're supposed to do just to keep up with what's going on around you. You can't just say I'm used to it and move on with your life. Things accumulate, toxins accumulate in your body.
Welcome to Age with Intention podcast, where we explore how people around the world live longer, stronger, think clearer, and age with purpose. I'm Aviles, and I'm here to tell you that longevity is not about chasing health. We build it with clarity and purpose, and by having the willingness to question what we are told. Okay, so it's clear that when we think of health, most people think about what they eat. If you think about the water they drink, right? But almost nobody thinks about what they breathe, even
Exactly.
though it's one of the things you do like 20,000 times a day.
Mhm.
And the reality is, we're not breathing the same air, and it's not the same air our grandparents did. So,
Exactly.
from urban population to wildfire smoke to indoor toxins, the air itself has become a daily stressor on the body. So uh, the question becomes, can you actually build resilience in a world where the environment is working against us? I think we can. And that's what we're going to get into today with Saria, naturopathic medicine practitioner who lives right now in Lebanon. She's back on the show and she's going to talk about pollution, what it's done, where the course is going in that area, the increased dramatic buildup there with the destruction that's going on from, unfortunately, bombings that are sadly occurring in that region. So, Sadia, welcome back, and I'm glad you are staying safe.
I am very happy I'm back. Thank you for having me again. I love being with you on the show, and I especially love today's topic because it's kind of personal, and I'm living it actually. So I hope my information would be helpful to you and to everybody else.
Oh, absolutely will. And again, we're over here. We're all praying for you guys.
Thank you so
And
much.
then not no normal human likes wars or any conflicts
Exactly.
like this. We
Yeah,
all
exactly.
together, believe it or not, with our hearts. And I'm just happy that you're here and you're staying safe. So
Thank you.
last time we spoke, we were actually talking about, we went deep into Mediterranean longevity, the lifestyle, the rhythms, the resilience
The
of these people.
Mediterranean diet. Yeah,
Yes, all
this
that
is
good
what we talked
stuff. Okay,
about
so
last
now we're
time.
back.
Yeah,
Today it feels more urgent. Again, you're in Lebanon and you've been experiencing some pretty intense air quality challenges due
yeah,
to, again, the attacks that are happening. And it's one thing that we should be addressing worldwide anyway. I know it's sad, it's
exactly.
tragic that it's happening over there, but
Yeah,
here's the thing: what's actually been happening on the ground right now after all the debris lifted up in the air, what you've been
exactly.
personally experiencing yourself, and what you're seeing in your patients and
Mhm.
clients. And I know a lot of children that you work with. So tell us about that.
Well, like you said, people tend to think about what they eat or how they move, they don't think about breathing, which is something really essential, and people tend to take it lightly or not even think about it. But when you think about it, it's not only about the toxins that we're breathing now and the aftermath of the strikes and the attacks, and like you said, the debris and what's left in the air. It's also about controlling and regulating your stress when you're living in such stressful circumstances. So it's like a two-way sword, because it's helpful for stress, and we should look into it and we should take care of it and take care of the air we're breathing, because we needed to filter out the toxins, and we need to make sure we're not getting those chemicals that are being spread in the air, whether it's from the strikes, what's being used in today's weapons, or whether it's because of the debris and the dust that's left off from destroying buildings. Because I would like to highlight this. People tend to say, especially after I uploaded that reel about, how to take care of yourself and what supplements we should take because of what we're breathing. Some people were saying that just don't make a big deal out of it. We've been living in wars for decades. We've technically built immunity over this, so there's nothing to stress about. Just don't make a big deal out of it. But what's being used in buildings today is different than what was used before. And the
Absolutely.
dust we're inhaling from those buildings, from this destruction, is totally different than what was before. Same thing goes to the weapons being used. The weapons that are being used now are different than the ones being used before. So no, it's not that we've built immunity towards it, and it's not that we're used to it. No, it's totally different. We should be. You asked if you can build resilience. You absolutely can, but you have to be intentional about it. You can't control the
Very
environment
different.
you live in. Okay, but you can do the things you're supposed to do just to keep up with what's going on around you. You can't just say, I'm used to it, and move on with your life. Things accumulate, toxins accumulate in your body. We don't want that. Or being healthy is a trend. And like, if you tell someone how to breathe like they're supposed to, because when you breathe correctly, you filter out toxins. This is how your body works, right? So like, mouth breathing doesn't
Hmm.
filter out toxins. You need to be breathing properly from your nose. So look how silly this is. Look how easy it is to make. And yet people think of it of, we've been doing this, we've been living like that our whole life. Don't make a big deal out of it. There is nothing wrong. We're resilient. We're used to that. Like I said, we live in different times, in vicious wars, even though maybe it's not as vicious as before. But what's being used and the destruction that's being made affects us, affects our health tremendously. And if we don't flush out those toxins, they're only going to accumulate and build up in our system. And eventually people are going to, actually, I think people are already paying for it. Because like you said, what am I noticing in my clients, or
Yeah,
in
it's
DMs I
horrible.
get from my followers, or whatever? People are getting fatigue, noticeable fatigue, not like before.
Yes.
People are getting brain fog. Some of my clients that are on term to repeat their labs have recently had their inflammation markers go up. you know People don't want to believe that this is related to the toxins that we're breathing and the air pollution we're living in. But this plays a big role, especially when it comes to brain fog and inflammation. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I mean, when
Chemtrails.
we're saying air toxicity, we're really talking about particles. Because usually over here, I deal with mold, indoor toxins. When it
Yeah.
comes up to air
Yeah,
quality.
2.5.
But you're seeing more particle matter, right? We're talking particle matters that go what they call it PM 2.5 to 10 or something.
Yeah.
I'm sure the particle matter is really high there. Heavy metals, because of the materials or
Compounds.
whatever they're
Yeah.
using for the buildings now, are totally different. A lot of chemicals, a lot of heavy metal, volatile organic compounds they call them, right? VOCs. So all that
Yeah.
stuff. From your lens as a naturopath, what's happening inside the body? I know you just started touching on it, but
Month, we've been living a sort of a pandemic lockdown, because you can't really go out. And when you go out, it's only for necessities. So add to what we're breathing, we're staying at home, we're not moving a lot. Okay. And Art, the toxins you breathe need to be filtered by your respiratory system, and then by your liver. And when we're not moving a lot, our liver is not working properly to detox. This is why I stress that some supplements need to be taken, some measures need to be taken. It's not about stacking supplements up. It's about, we can't control the environment we're living in now, so we need to make
right,
the best of it so
of course,
that we don't get
absolutely.
sicker. Like I told you, the inflammation markers are increasing. I saw it hands on with my clients. 3 or 4 months back, they didn't have this type of inflammation. Now they do. Most of my clients or my followers on socials, they're always DMing me about they're always tired, they have severe fatigue, and they have brain fog. Why is that happening? Because toxins are building up in our bodies and we're not releasing them. The lymphatic system is not working properly. We're under stress. Our body is always under alert mode. We're not breathing properly. There is heavy breathing. This also affects, cleaning out the toxins. So it's small measures that one can take, but they could really affect not getting sicker, not having more brain fog, not being tired all the time, and not being depressed. It's all related.
Yes, I mean that
It's a systemic,
it's
exactly,
the
yeah.
oxidative stress, like you mentioned. It's not just the lungs, people. It's going, yeah, lungs, blood, the whole. It's a systemic effect, and it's going to come all together.
Exactly.
Inflammation with oxidative stress,
Yeah.
overflowing.
Yeah.
Like I like to say, the buckets have maybe a lot of people were already had their
Exactly.
buckets high.
Yeah.
Now with this overflowing with water, like just disrupt their whole metabolic system. Like I said, it's not just lung, it's a full body issue that we have to address. So this is where I think people are missing. If someone's already metabolically
Yeah.
compromised, poor
Mm-hmm.
gut health, a sluggish detox pathways to the, you mentioned the liver deficiencies are happening now. Oh, I could imagine that.
Yeah,
They
yeah, yeah.
are more vulnerable.
Absolutely. Politically, there are always limitations. So whatever happens, usually the city doesn't get like exposed a lot, okay? And also there are some mountains in the countryside that people used to go to because the air would be cleaner there. This is what we used to do, especially when we were kids. That is not the situation now. Now there is literally nowhere clean to go in the country. We're trapped by toxicity. And it's affecting kids a lot. It's affecting kids a lot. Kids are staying home, they're not going to school, okay? You on devices, okay? And when they go out, they're exposed to toxins. I have clients, kids that have asthma or have some type of allergies, and the symptoms were very severe during the last couple of months, and 2 or 3 of them were actually had to go to the ER. It was that severe. Why? It's not a coincidence. That's what people don't understand. It's not that it happened now for I don't know what reason. It happened because of the fumes, the debris, and the dust we're breathing. This is what's happening. It's affecting everything from the skin to deep down to your body, to your immunity, to your liver,
Right,
respiratory system, lungs,
right.
everything. We absolutely can't take it lightly.
Yeah, you
Exactly.
can't. And yes, of course, the
Yeah.
environment's going to, like they say, the
Yeah.
environment loads
Yeah.
the gun,
Yeah.
and then your internal terrain is pretty much going to pull the trigger. And the kids are vulnerable. They're children. They're still growing. So let's talk about something most people don't consider. From what you've seen and you've studied, of course, throughout your life in naturopathic medicine.
A lot of houses are by the sea. We have mold in like it's increasing. Houses have mold in Lebanon. So it's not the air is not clean the whole entire time. But again, there are measures that one can take that would purify the air. Like I would give you an example. I had mold in my house a few years ago. I had it treated with a local company that treats mold with hydrogen peroxide. So there were no chemicals involved whatsoever. And they cleaned the mold from its root. So it's a root cause healing. Okay. And although I have treated the mold, I still have air purifiers, dehumidifiers, and I have snake plants in my house, you know, to keep the air purified. And this is what I advise my clients, my followers, everyone that has an air quality problem. This is usually my advice to them.
Yep, that's a great idea, and it's good to have a list. I was going to ask you about that. Be aware first, right? Be aware. Don't get overwhelmed because obviously there's
Yeah.
cleaning chemicals that we have. We have synthetic fragrances. The poor ventilation already a
Yeah.
problem, mold exposure, and if you get rid of the mold, sometimes there's still spores. And then you have
All
gas
right.
off of most of the furniture,
Okay.
and you're locked up indoors. I think it's a good idea to bring up a
Exactly.
list, and we'll talk about that in a little bit if you do have one, so we can share with the
Mhm.
people a list to check off and go little by little, so we don't get overwhelmed. Because let's bring this
Exactly.
back outside for a second, because I think a lot of people
Yeah.
assume if I'm inside, I'm safe, but the reality is you're indoor. Air is
Mm.
constantly being influenced by what's happening outside as well, and then whether it's urban pollution, whether it's wildfire
Yeah.
smoke, like here in
Yeah.
California, or the big cities like Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, we have so much pollution in the air. Just in general, environmental exposure, air is still finding its way into our homes. So the real question becomes, how do we control what comes in and then what stays in? So your
Exactly.
perspective is great. You have that. So we'll make sure that we get a list out there for people how much indoor air quality is actually
Exactly.
dictated by the
Exactly.
outdoor
You know,
quality, and then what should people be thinking about when it comes to protecting
Yeah, yeah,
their home
exactly.
environment.
Yeah, because Art, we live in times where we're constantly fighting things that are made to destroy us. Whether it's
Yeah.
big pharma, whether it's big food, whether, you live under chemtrails all the time. So we're constantly fighting things, and I'm honestly sick of people trying to
Prohibition.
make healthy living like a trend that they want to get rid of, you know, and people tend to, yeah, and they tend to want to show it as something that needs too much effort or something that's difficult because they're not able to do it, but sun exposure every day for 10 minutes builds up your immunity tremendously. A 10 minutes walk after every meal helps you metabolically. It's the simplest things that accumulate and help you become a better you. But people just don't want to go down that road for some reason. It's only the people, honestly, this is what I think, and what I'm seeing. It's honestly the people that are really waking up, that are understanding that this is actually what we're supposed to do, and the life that we've been living is not the life we're supposed to be living.
Like you said, it's so simple to go
Yeah.
outside at the right times to get that sun, the signal from the sun, right? The sun rays.
It's
There's
good for your
UVA times,
circadian
there's
rhythm.
UVB
Yeah.
times, and it's going to be the best source of
Yeah.
vitamin D, which we need.
Exactly. This is what we've been learning and telling people for years. It's just now you're seeing it everywhere, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong or that you shouldn't
Sure.
be doing it, or that, you know, healthy people are conspiracy theorists or whatever. We're not. We're just opening people's eyes into living like our ancestors used to live, the very simple life.
Mhm.
There is no need for those extravagant things. It's just the simple things that will help tremendously. I hope people get to understand that more. That brings us back to the air quality, because like I said, when I
Yeah,
uploaded
exactly.
that reel, I got so many DMs telling me that, why are you making a big deal out of it? Why are you scaring us? I don't want to scare anyone. I'm not making a big deal out of it. But when you can't control the environment you live in, you need support
Uh,
somehow. And I'm here to tell you what that support should be, because I was getting DMs and WhatsApp and texts from screenshots
exactly.
from Chat GPT telling people what supplements they should be taking. And we all use Chat GPT, but it does make mistakes sometimes.
Oh, of course, it's trained to
Exactly.
say whatever
Yeah,
they.
exactly. So I've been seeing that trend where people are sharing advice from ChatGPT on what supplements to take during times of war, and most of them were really wrong. So this is why I was like, I live in that country. I'm going through this. People around me are going through this. Even people in the UAE and the Gulf countries, they were going through those toxins and toxic fumes at the same time. And I was like, I'm taking this, I gave this to my family, I should probably share it. And it wasn't about fear, it was about showing people that I'm not asking you to stack on supplements. I'm just letting you know that a little support from here, a little support from there, will help you go through what we're going through, because we can't control the environment and the pollution around us.
Exactly, and it's the first thing is awareness. You're giving them awareness, not fear. Yes, you get a little scared, but I'm here not to promote
Exactly.
fear. Yes, it's going to start as fear, but the thing is, I'm giving you awareness
Exactly.
so you could do something about it, and maybe you could work. You can't afford the supplements. There's other ways too, and you're going to have to
Exactly.
work a little harder
Yeah.
with whole food stuff. Then we go into innovations, which I like innovation when it works for us, not
Absolutely.
against us. And one of the things we could do is look for air purifier. I think every bedroom should have an air purifier.
If you have the snake
Yes.
plants, it helps a lot, with purifying the air. I also have a dehumidifier, because I use it in the spot where I had the mold, just in case, I don't have the mold again. So I have it there just in
Oh yeah.
case. So I would definitely recommend those. And I would be more than happy to come up with a list, you and I, and share it with our followers. I think it would be very helpful.
Yes, I think so
Yeah.
too. Because it's we're I keep saying this in every episode
Mm-hmm.
with all my expert guests. Is like I know people are overwhelmed with so much. So I always bring it up. We need to make things simple. And
Yeah, we're luckier in Lebanon when it comes to the water, because yours is filled with fluoride. Yeah. Most of the buildings still
and
have those copper plumbing tubes or whatever. And most buildings, they take care of those pipes by themselves regularly. So there is no toxin buildup, mold
yeah, the
buildup,
copper
or
plumbing.
whatever. and and we don't have fluoride, we don't have any additives to our water. It's just clean water coming from whatever source, depending on where you live. But we really don't have that problem, honestly, thank God.
Wow, so you have that layer. First layer,
Yeah.
the aqueducts, I could imagine they are similar
Thank you.
to the Roman or Italian ones where, they
Yeah.
have the old traditional
Yeah.
aqueducts that come bringing
Yeah.
the water in. And I know Lebanon's a very beautiful country. There's mountains, there's not just ocean, right? You got mountains and lots of trees everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you get quality water and no, oh my, I wish for that day to come. Here, I added another layer. Now I'm using hydrogen water, and I don't want to talk bad about China, but a lot of manufacturers there tend to cut corners, and you got a lot of bad hydrogen water bottles. They're no good. I don't think there's even one that exists. But you buy the machines, and I would recommend Japanese made because they're the ones that are on
Yeah.
top of the world with hydrogen water system. You put distilled
Mm.
water into one section of the machine, and then it produces the hydrogen, separate it from the actual water that filters that you have in your filter, and then it starts producing the hydrogen. And what you do is the combination. You drink it
Mm.
throughout the day, and then you could also install it
Yeah.
to
It's the
breathe
best.
in the hydrogen. And speaking of that, that's a
Yeah.
good point to bring because for air quality, of course, hydrogen, the smallest molecule in the universe, it's gonna antioxidant, the best in the world.
It's the best investment you can ever do in your life. Investing in your health is the best thing you can ever do in your life, and like I said, we have so much to fight, we have so much to
Yes.
protect ourselves against.
Oh yeah.
So buying that or buying this, if it's going to be helpful, I'm ready to invest in it, because what's more important than investing in your health, honestly?
Yeah. I mean, there is nothing I could think of, because like you said, it could be expensive, but listen, that's why you do your research first. Don't just start spending your money like crazy on trendy machines. No, do your research. I found it with this one. I've actually interviewed the hydrogen man who he's known worldwide. So he's great at that. And I started going in
Okay.
deeper. But I don't know if you ever heard of Lourdes, France, a city where they have like natural water flowing. And
You mean
that's
like a
where
mineral
I
water,
couldn't figure
right?
out why aren't some people getting,
Okay.
good results. Like people will show up with wheelchairs. There's a couple,
Wow.
I think, no, there's like over a dozen miracles until the Japanese took that water and studied it. And they found out it's
Uh-huh.
because it has high levels of hydrogen. And that's why this guy grabbed it. His daughter was very ill. She wouldn't make it to past 8 years
Wow.
old. He obviously had the money and the resources to get the scientists to build a system that mimics that water, and he did it. And his daughter, I think in her 20s now, she's healthy, and that's the guy that
Lourdes.
invested in
يعني
this company, and
Lourdes.
that's why
Lourdes.
I
Yeah,
love his
okay,
story.
okay,
And
I got it. Okay.
it's a great thing to add with the air. So the air, the water, sunlight if you can. If you
Exactly.
can't, then
Yeah.
yeah, you could
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
do some innovation stuff at home. I've seen people
Mm,
do
mm.
red light therapy with
Oh
just
my God.
simple incandescent light in their
Exactly. It would be
bed.
$100. Yeah. No, sauna helps a
Which,
lot. It helps detoxify a lot, because you sweat out the toxins. It's good for your
oh
breathing.
yes, obviously yes,
I
amazing.
absolutely love sauna. One of the things I also recommend.
Yes, saunas for sure. Yeah,
But still, there are some innovations that are really being helpful, like,
body.
the hydrogen water now, for example. So it's this and that. Some people are taking advantage of the trend. Some people hate the trend. But what I would like to say, it's not a trend. And you don't need all those accessories, if I may call it. I don't know. You don't need all those accessories. You need sunlight, grounding, a regulated nervous system, good food, good mood, good friends. That's it. It's as simple as
Biohacks.
that. Good movement. You have a good life.
Yeah, and that's gonna. So it's actually removing things, maybe more, maybe removing more things and actually adding things.
Everything is connected, and people are starting to understand how big pharma works, how big food works, how everything is intentionally making us sick. It's designed to make us addicted to this food and designed to make us sick. And it's a loop. You get sick, you get medication. It's a vicious loop. But some people are waking up and they are understanding it, and they know that this is not a trend. And some people still need the awareness, which I think you and I and many like us are doing it. And I really, really hope we could raise that awareness, because we need more alpha men, and big food and big pharma are destroying them. Women need their hormones. Big pharma and big food are destroying them. And we're raising little addicts with the food we're giving our kids. So people should really wake up, and to go back to the air quality and the toxins. Like we said, if people take teeny tiny measures, it will be tremendously helpful. It's just those tiny baby steps. I hope people do understand that, whether it's concerning me living in a country that's going through war, or whether it's concerning you living in a country that you keep literally dodging things that are trying to poison you on daily basis.
We are at war as well. We are at war with big corporations that run our country. That's another topic, but we are at war
I
all the
hope.
time with them. All right, so Sadia, let's shift gears and let's have a little
Okay.
fun here. I like to do this rapid round section where I'll give you some questions. You'll answer quickly, whatever comes to mind first. Okay, so one, here we go. Two and three. Okay, so the first one, one daily habit to protect against air toxins. Two,
Sun exposure and grounding.
one supplement or nutrient you prioritize.
It's like a trio for me. Okay, it's the vitamin D3 with K2 and the magnesium. Because you can't take one and not take the other.
Biggest mistake people are making right now,
Eating processed food, people, I'm sorry, but I have to say something, Art,
their
and I
general
think
health.
you
Correct.
notice this as well, because people don't understand that this
Yes.
food is manufactured in a
Continuous.
way to make you addicted to it and to actually alternate your taste buds. This is why people find it hard to give up processed and fast food, because it's literally like an addiction. So you're not only like cleaning your diet or at whatever, it comes to a point where you're actually dealing with like an addict and curing an addiction.
Vicious cycle, right? And
People have been going through hell and beyond to know, to find a diet pill or whatever. Why is it suddenly available everywhere?
all right, let's do a surprise question here for you. If you could only fix one thing, air, water, or food, what would you choose and why?
Food is something we consume daily, and we've been taught or programmed to think that we need to have 3 meals per day and some snacks. So there is a lot going on during the day, especially for kids. The red 40, the artificial colors, the artificial flavors, the anti-caking agents, whatever it is, there is so much going on. So I think if food is fixed, everything would be better. But I would have added to that list, if I may, stress regulation, because when your nervous system is sabotaged, it's hard to heal in many ways. You need a good
Yes.
you need a good rested balanced nervous system. That's the foundation. I think that's the foundation of our terrain somehow. And once that is balanced and regulated, everything else would be better.
Well, another question here. What's something you've changed personally in your routine because of what you've experienced? Your own routine.
Well, first, since in Lebanon we don't have standalone homes in the city, so it's all buildings. And I'm used to getting my daily sun exposure no matter the weather throughout the year, and do my grounding where I go to the gym. So I've been working out from home. Now I'm back to the gym, thankfully. I've been working out from home. I've been getting my sun exposure from my balcony, and I haven't been doing any grounding. What I was actually doing is whenever I go out, I try to touch a tree, hold a tree, or whatever. This is my type
Yes.
of grounding.
Hey, you gotta do that.
But it's not that I've changed. What I've added more, or what I'm focusing on more, is actually my nervous system.
Exactly.
We've been through hell during this war. The anticipation of knowing something is going to happen anytime, any minute, anywhere. That alone, and especially as a mom who didn't really want her kids to go through what she went through when she was a kid, that had a tremendous weight on my shoulders. Okay, and it was very stressful to me. So I've been focusing more on regulating my nervous system. And also I added what I call the war stack for supplements. Yeah, I doubled the dosage of my
That's
vitamin C, and I'm taking apple pectin,
oh, there you go.
modified apple pectin, because it's a binder. Um, yeah. So yeah, this is actually those are the changes that I've made, but mainly it was my nervous system. And
Right, and that's great. So you spoke about circadian rhythm, so you're probably working on alignment with that too, because it's such an important thing. So I'm going to ask you a personal one
okay.
before we close. I have one final question, and I will ask you, as I ask all my guests, think of it as going into a little time machine, okay? So if you could go back and sit down with the 20-year-old Saria for about a couple minutes, right? 5 minutes to say, what is one piece of advice you would give this youngster Saria?
Take things slowly. You know, whatever is meant to happen will happen. Just take things slowly, tame your ambition a little bit. I feel like I'm a very ambitious person, always running towards my goal. So I would tell myself, hold your horses. I wouldn't have changed anything about my diet, honestly, because my mom took very good care of that. May God rest her soul. But I would definitely, definitely tell myself to stop using those chemical laced skincare and makeup. It's something very silly, but the effect on hormones when you use, synthetic skincare and
Right.
chemicals and all of
Yeah,
those
I think
things.
everybody
So I
follows
would
that.
definitely advise my 20 years old not to get those facials, not to use those skincare, not to use that makeup. The same advice I give my 15-year-old now, my 15-year-old daughter. Yeah,
Who didn't fall for all these creams and it's so simple when you could just go back to traditional creams and soaps, and that
exactly.
brings up the
Yeah,
point where actually you and I might be partnering in a traditional very healthy way of cleaning your skin, which is the soaps, right? In the whole Mediterranean, I believe, like from Greece, I just happened to be there few months ago,
Yeah,
talking about donkey soap with olive oil.
exactly. I use that and I use tallow soap, both of them. I absolutely love them. Traditional olive oil soap. This is this is a traditional Lebanese soap, you know. The one we get is from the
Okay, yeah,
countryside, from farmers, and they do it with only olive oil. It's absolutely amazing. And the donkey milk soap has so many benefits, you know, for the skin, for tightening the skin, cleansing the pores. It's
amazing.
absolutely amazing.
That stood out to me a lot. You could go to any, in at least in Greece, they call it pharmakias, the pharmacies. They had all these soaps from all over the Mediterranean. And I heard a lot of the benefits of the milk from the donkey. You know, of course, the tallow's there as well, but it seemed to have worked for Cleopatra, they said.
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard that she was, they say she was very beautiful, so I'm pretty sure it works somehow. And you know, people used to talk about her skin. When they mentioned her beauty, they talk about her skin. She had glowing skin and absolutely soft skin. And she used to say that it was because of the milk.
Okay, see?
Absolutely, yeah. Good for bringing that up. We can use that. Yeah. You can tell how much our olive oil is amazing because one of the war targets was to actually destroy as much as they can from the olive
Yeah.
trees. And they absolutely did that.
Don't they want to use it
You know,
too?
like they always, like they
Wow,
do with everything, they
that's
want to
crazy.
steal it and, you know, and take it for them, you know? Yeah. But we're
Quality,
resilient people.
right.
We're gonna have more trees, we're gonna have good oil. Nothing's gonna stop us.
Okay, so let's see. For people who want to learn more from you, okay, and follow your journey, where can they
I'm a
find you?
homeopath
Follow
and
your
herbalist.
work,
Yeah.
your passion.
People can follow me on Instagram. Yeah, absolutely. I'm an Avida Wellness. I have my contact info and everything. I just wanted to say thank you for having me. It's absolutely an amazing time talking with you and, you know, sharing our thoughts and trying to raise awareness as much as possible. And I also hope, you know, things get better in my country so that you can come and pay us a visit and see what an absolutely gorgeous country it is. Hope.
Thank you again, and especially for with everything you're
I'm glad I'm here.
navigating in real time right now. I think this conversation is going to hit home for a lot of people. So I'm glad I got you on. For the friends that are on here, if this episode changed the way you think about your environment, that's the goal. That's what we want to do, right? Because aging with intention isn't just about what you do, it's about what you're exposed to every single day. And
Absolutely.
the more you're aware, we're not trying to bring
Absolutely.
fear like Saria says here. The more you're aware,
Thank you.
the more you become under control in your own home, right? The more control you'll actually have for your family. So that's very important. Thank you so much, everybody, and we will see you on the next episode.